Hey guys, so I came in on a Saturday to help a patient who just had a manipulation under anesthesia. This is one of those classic cases. My patient was doing everything right before the manipulation, working like crazy, and just the knee didn't respond. The range of motion was limited, somewhere around 90 degrees. The surgeon, the patient, myself, we got into a discussion. What are the pros and cons? And we decided, let's go ahead, do the manipulation. After a manipulation under anesthesia, we typically do 10 to 14 days every single day of physical therapy just to keep the gains that you received during the procedure. Now, to my knowledge, I'm the only therapist in my area who comes in on the weekend to do it, but I think it's so important. I want to be able to do that. During the home exercise prescription portion of today's session, we talked about bending the knee at home. My patient had been doing heel slides. So if you're not aware of what a heel slide is, let me show you real quick, and I'm going to show you what might be a better variation on it, and I'll explain why it's better. So a typical heel slide, you'll buy one of these loops, straps, stretch straps, or you'll use a belt or a towel or a sheet or anything. You put the loop around the foot. You can do it sitting up, where I'm kind of pulling the knee into flexion, then back to extension. A lot of patients will feel better doing it laying down. So again, they're pulling back. The thing that I don't like about this exercise, and I don't ever prescribe this as an exercise, is you're kind of working against yourself. When I'm pulling back into knee flexion, the tendency is to push away, to resist that motion. My quadriceps muscle wants to push the knee into extension, and I'm really kind of trying to fight myself to overpower the move into flexion. Now, I am a lazy therapist. I like to do things the easiest, simplest, most lazy way, because I think we get the best results when we do that. And what I prefer to do, if you have a ball, little physio ball available, this is about 16 centimeters, I think. What you do here is you're rolling the ball back to you, you're extending the ball away from you, but the difference with this motion is now my hamstrings are working to pull the ball toward me. There's no other way for the ball to come toward me if I don't have a strap, but normal function without the knee replacement is the hamstring muscle is one of the muscles that flexes the knee. So if I can use the hamstring to bring the foot toward me, if I can use the ball to eliminate friction, I'm going to get a better contraction. I'm going to work the body in a way that the body naturally moves. I just find it to be a little bit easier. Now, if I want to do an advanced version of this, what I do is I set the foot on the ball, almost foot flat, so my toes are pointed down. Because what happens is once I pass a certain point on the ball's rotation, now the ball is actually helping to push into the end range of flexion. I go into extension. If I want to add a little bit to the extension, I can cross my other foot on top. But when I'm working on flexion, hamstring is working, I bring that ball toward me. My hamstring's tight. I feel it in the back of my knee. I feel a little stretch through the front of my knee. This would be something I would typically recommend my client do 2 to 3 minutes. The repetitions don't matter as much. I don't care if you do 20 or 40 or 100. I would do it for duration. I would do it for time, because time is what allows the connective tissue to lengthen. You know, there's a direct relationship with speed on stretching connective tissue. The faster I try to stretch connective tissue, the more resistance that connective tissue gives me. Think of it like you're in a pool. If I move my hand through the water in a pool slowly, it just glides, it's smooth. But if I try to go really fast, the faster I go against the water, the more resistance the water gives me. Connective tissue is very similar. The faster we try to stretch the connective tissue, the more resistance that happens and the less length we get. But if we go slow through the movement, sustain the pressure at a comfortable level, that connective tissue will eventually lengthen. It's a physics term called creep, C-R-E-E-P. And then that will allow that connective tissue to give you more range of motion. Of course, it will tighten up once you stop the movement, but with repeated exposure, you eventually will stimulate the body to lay down more connective tissue cells, which will potentially lengthen the connective tissue. Last example, if I go out and rake the garden, if I rake for 8 hours in one day, I'm gonna get a blister. But if I rake for 20 minutes over 8 days, the blister is never going to form, but I'm going to form a callus. A callus is a growth of the skin cells, of the skin connective tissue in a durable, hard layer. We want our ligaments, our tendons, our joint capsule, our fascia, all of that stuff. We want to give it enough stimulus to lengthen, lay down more tissue, but not so much stimulus that we inflame it, which is what happens basically when you get a blister. Guys, I hope this information was helpful. Let me know in the comments what else you'd like to learn about, and I'll see you on the next video.